Okay, this is how to add straps to your plywood board, or possibly another kind of board if it's similar. First thing you want to do is get some stainless steel T-nuts. They sell these at Home Depot. I like to use 1024 number 10 screws with 24 threads per inch. You can use 1/4 inch too, but this is plenty strong. And then what you're going to want to do is get a spade bit like this, and they come with these little teeth on either side. You can ground those down so that way we don't cut any material deeper than what we're trying to inset. Okay, so let me show you real quick. So you mark your hole. And you want to just cut down about like 3 millimeters, or 1/16 of an inch or so. Okay. And you can kind of watch the layers of the plywood as the colors change to see how deep you're getting and how even the hole is. Okay, now what you can do is take the T-nut, place it in there, give it a whack with a hammer. And what I like to do is take a socket, just set that on top of there. And just beat it down flush, like as flat as you're going to want to get it to sit. What we're doing is knocking the teeth into the wood on that T-nut. Okay, once you have that done, what I like to do is knock it back out. I usually do this with a 1024 screw. Stick it in there, and it just pulls right out. You rock it around if you need to. And now, what we need to do is drill through that hole all the way through with the size that is, so it'll pass through nice and clean. And I'm going to mix up some epoxy and show you the next step. Okay, got the epoxy mixed up right here. Just taking a broken popsicle stick, get some on the end. I'll let some drip off. Careful not to drip on your board. Just get a bunch of epoxy in that recessed hole we made. Make sure you get it in those holes where the 3 prongs go. What we're trying to do here is seal out the water and glue down the T-nut. And go ahead and wet out the inside of the hole. Don't worry about it getting into the threads of the T-nut. You really want a good amount in there. Make sure you get that inside rim. It's going to be a lot easier now than it's going to be afterwards. If you had a little bit of loose fibers around the edge, you can go ahead and wet them out now too. Don't want to go too much because we're going to add a lot more epoxy in a little bit. Okay, once you have that sufficiently wet out, you take your T-nut, try to get the little prongs lined up with the previous holes they left. Squish it down. Take your socket and your hammer, just like we did before. Knock it down in there. And then what I like to do is take a little piece of wood and I wrap it in vinyl. You can use packing tape or wax paper or whatever you have. If you get lucky, you could maybe not even wrap it, but any kind of tape, electrical tape, scotch tape, and just put one of those 1024 screws through it with a washer. And flip your board over. Just gently screw that screw in. You want to be careful not to push the T-nut out, but it should be stuck in there pretty well. Take a screwdriver. I'm trying to do is cinch down that T-nut really tight, and this is going to act as a clamp to hold it there while the epoxy dries. Also, make sure to use good epoxy. The longer it takes to dry, the better epoxy it is. 10 minutes or anything like that is terrible. So you're going to want to get this about as tight as you can, or as tight as you're ever going to want to tighten down your straps, so that way it will glue in place in the right place, as compressed as the wood's going to be at that tightness. Okay. Now, take a little bit more epoxy, drip a little, just a little, get it about up to the level of the metal. We don't want to go over it, meaning we don't want to get any epoxy too close to that bolt. Okay, now we got to let that dry before the next step, and I'll show you how that goes.